Prodigy issue 1 heads back to 1993, where a young Edison Crane is awarded Man of the Match at the Interschool Polo Cup final, much to the chagrin of the other older players. Later in the locker room, Edison tries to congratulate the angered team members, thanking them for allowing an 11-year-old on the team. Tinker gets mad, beating up the young boy with his fellow players. Later, as he watches some Bruce Lee films, Edison tells his friend that the others beat him because of their bruised egos, but on Monday he will be getting revenge, and thanks to him being able to learn faster than anyone else who ever lived, he is watching Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan and other kung fu movies to memorize their every move. Come Monday morning, he confronts Tinker and the others at school, beating them senseless with his new memorized kung fu moves. Edison knows that he will be expelled for this, but he knows Tinker will learn a valuable life lesson from all of this as he kicks the boy through a window. The next year in Vermont, Edison's parents finish up their dinner with the vice president, who thinks that Senator Crane will make a fantastic Secretary of State. The parents go to find their sons, and the VP's wife talks about how their son Jasper has been rather withdrawn since his cardiac problems arose, but luckily he's got surgery next week. The parents open Jasper's room and are shocked to find Edison performing open heart surgery on Jasper. The parents demand to know what is going on, so Edison calmly tells them that he is closing Jasper's pericardium, so he needs total silence. He reassures the terrified parents Jasper will be on his feet in no time. In the present, a grown Edison plays chess against a dozen or so grandmasters at the World Chess Championships. At Lincoln Labs in New Mexico, the scientists ask Edison via video conference if he is thinking of the chess games or the asteroid that will destroy Earth. Edison says he needs quiet as he checkmates all except one chess master, telling Mr. Romanoff they will pick up their game later. Edison gets to work on the asteroid, which when it hits in 17 years will cause an extinction event double the event that killed the dinosaurs. Luckily, the genius has a deflection strategy that will get rid of the problem, a strategy his subconscious has been working on, coming up with a projectile that will be ready in 18 months, and once launched, will divert the asteroid in a further 12.3 years. The scientists want to know how much this will cost, but Edison reassures them that he's going to foot the bill, donning a motorcycle helmet and going outside to the Grand Canyon since he's got some school children to help. As he races his bike towards the Grand Canyon, he remembers the letter a school child sent him, wanting him to jump the canyon without a parachute, while on fire before ditching his bike halfway. Edison races up the ramp and is lit on fire, soaring through the air where he ditches the bike and dives into a huge water tank on the other side of the canyon, surviving the jump as he remembers his mother telling him to always be curious. Meeting with Candace, his assistant, she tells him that's the most ridiculous stunt he has ever pulled while she's been in his employ. She runs through the main request for the day, learning the Australian government want his help with a series of weird materializations, another asking if he can compose a new overture for Nantes Festival in July. The last one is also a new stunt challenge, this time wanting him to dive his car off the roof of his Berlin office and land on a specific floor of the neighboring building, all while blindfolded. Edison wonders if that request came from the same child as before, and learning it does, he tells Candace that he will do it, as well as the other requests, since he hasn't slept in a month and he needs something to exercise his brain cells. Since despite writing plays, designing a telecommunications system and growing his company 30%, he needs something new. Firstly though, he wants to deal with the materializations in Australia. 24 hours earlier in Alice Springs, a man suddenly changes into a futuristic car, as do others along the street. The police tell the people to stay back as they open one of the cars, finding a cage with burned mice inside. At Pine Gap military base nearby, Edison looks over the cars and mice, finding that the mice are always dead and the cars are models that never existed, and their license plates come from states that no one has ever heard of or that have ever existed. Edison is also shown two strange spacecraft that have become fused, each containing a passenger who appears to be human. Edison knows that these aren't aliens, they are humans and they have come from a parallel Earth, and the cars and mice were test trials. He knows more will soon be coming, and an invasion is on its way. Later in Singapore, Edison remembers his father getting angered that he doesn't want to follow in his political footsteps, instead wanting to solve the world's mysteries. He asks when his son is ever going to grow up, and Edison tells him that he will grow up when the world becomes less curious. His father refuses to throw money at his endeavors, giving him one final dollar as his inheritance, which Edison later turned into $1 billion by the end of the year. Snapping back to reality, Edison finds that his assistants have all been knocked out by a woman who says that she couldn't risk making a formal appointment with the man. Edison listens to the woman, who introduces herself as Rachel Strax, a CIA agent, who wants to tell him that he's correct about his invasion theories, but he can't trust the governments since half of them are in on it, since this is all part of a plan by the worst people of the world and part of an ancient prophecy hidden away in the Kremlin library. She asks if he wants to know more, so Edison contacts Roland, telling him to cancel all his week's meetings as he takes a seat to listen to Rachel. Prodigy issue 1 was a really fantastically drawn and fun read, but was highly derivative of the 1980s movie Buckaroo Banzai, almost to a point where I couldn't really get into the comic as I do much of the other comics I read, since while at first the book appears to be a homage to the film, starting almost exactly as the movie does, it just kind of kept doing it to a point where it kind of becomes close to a ripoff. The only thing we haven't seen Edison do is headline a world touring, world famous band, though I have a feeling that might be coming. There is lots to like about the book though, such as Raphael Albuquerque's very slick and stylish art, as well as the hints to Edison's storied past as a child, which will no doubt be broken open during the course of the series, which I am very much looking forward to. Hopefully the next few issues get a little bit more original in terms of where they take their cues from the stories, but the series has hooked me since I'm a bit of a sucker for alternate Earths, invasion, incursion stories. I'm going to give this issue a 7 out of 10.